Hi, I'm Attorney Vincent Davis. Are you overwhelmed by a CPS case? I'm offering you a new opportunity to change your situation. Join me for a live question and answer seminar where I'll help you navigate the CPS process and help bring your child home. I'll reveal the biggest secrets to winning your CPS case. This is the same strategy I've used for over 35 years to help reunite families. I'll show you the simple steps that work even if you feel like you're out of options. Here's the best part. When you sign up, you'll get exclusive access to my private strategy session where I dive deep into your specific case. This offer is only available to those who attend the live seminar. Don't miss this chance to fight CPS and win. Click the link below to reserve your spot today.
Good morning and welcome. I hope you all enjoyed that little blurb about getting extra help from the man himself. That's Vincent W. Davis. He's my attorney, and he defended me in my case. Um, he's offering this Saturday. You should attend it. It's a Zoom get together about all the ways of clues that he has as far as getting your children back and dealing with CPS. And I'll talk to him about a few minutes, but I want you all to know that I appreciate him. I thank him. He's the one that provides his podcast. He has podcasts himself. He's a family juvenile dependency attorney with over 35 years of experience of fighting CPS. He's the real deal. He will get your children back. He will get your children back. And one of my rules is you need to get an attorney. And he and I have come up with a private consultation with Mr. Davis to book a discounted Zoom consultation with Vince W. Davis for 30 minutes. I've agreed on a fee of $60. He'll only charge you $60, but you have to go to a special place to get that rate and to register for a discounted consultation. It's https://candidly, CALENDLY.com/APPTSVWD/Bob Pace. And when you go there, use your credit card, pay your $60, and make arrangements. And when you talk to Mr. Davis, make sure you tell him that I sent you. Make sure you tell him that I sent you. And he will gladly go over how you can get your kids back, the challenge, and so forth. And if you want to talk about retaining, you can talk to him about that also. I have another number up on the screen. It's 888-888-6582, and that's the number that you want to uh, contact the office. Just make sure you tell them that Bob Pace sent you. Bob Pace sent you, and he will. Uh, the office will set you up with any of the attorneys he has. He has areas of law and immigration, real estate, the workplace, divorce, criminal matters. He has all those attorneys. So that 888-888-6582 is his number. His number. Now, again, I repeat, if you want to book a discounted ticket right now, it's scrolling across the bottom of my screen. It's go to the website https://candidly CALENDLY.com/apps APPTS VWD/Bob Pace. And why you think you need an attorney? Well, you're dealing with an agency that is corrupt. They're not transparent. They lie. They're revengeful for you, and they do steal your children. They do alienate your children. So you need someone that knows the law. One thing about Vincent Davis is that he can file lawsuits, civil lawsuits. He's won. And that should be one of the questions you ask any potential attorney. Not only do they have a background in family juvenile dependency law, but have they fought CPS and won? He's won millions of dollars, both state and federal court. So he's the real deal. He's a trial attorney. And with all his years' experience, he will help you. I know from firsthand experience. Because it's like right now, if you're going to have open heart surgery, would you um, um, go have a mechanic or a plumber repair your heart? No, you're going to get a professional. And with the cases in CPS, you have to be professional. They've gone rogue, they've gone bad, and most times CPS will not help you. They're going to try to steal your children. It's all for the purpose of making money. They want to put you in foster care, and foster care is corrupt. And I'll talk about more of those things too. Now, some of you may not know what I mean by CPS. I define CPS as the child protection system that protects our children. It's a branch of social services from neglect and abuse. Now, every state will have different acronyms. Like in Arizona, it's Department of Children's Services. In Georgia, it's the Cabinet. In California, it's the Child Protection Services. So when I say CPS, I mean all those county agencies that are protecting our children from abuse and neglect. And not only, a lot of people don't realize that they're supposed to help out families in need. So if you're struggling with food because food has gotten so expensive, they'll help you get your food stamps, especially if you're low income. Furthermore, if you need help with your kids in school, they'll help you get school for your kids. They also will help with medical needs. If you have medical needs that you need help on, again, it's all based on your income. But if you're low income, which a lot of you are, you will qualify for that. Also, they will help you with housing and clothing, and then help you get a job. It's more than just taking your kids away, which it seems that CPS does all the time. Furthermore, they're supposed to do reunification. That means put your family back together after they've taken your children because they're in imminent danger. The problem being is CPS no longer knows what imminent danger is. They let children that are being abused and imminent danger go unseen. And the families that are struggling because of income or hardship or just silly thing are being persecuted and having their children adopted, not family reunification, because family reunification has been studies shown that the parents are the best parents for family reunification. So I strongly encourage you all to know what CPS is more than just a professional child trafficking is what they do. And, I have a story. I always tell people that there was a group of social workers, 8 women, all white, that worked 25 years in the social services in this CPS. They called it in Arizona, the Department of Children's Services, DCS. Now, this was in Prescott, Arizona in the 2022, and they decided to get pink t-shirts on the front. They said professional child kidnappers. That's what they put. And on the back, they say, do you know where your children are at? And they parade around, and this was in Costco and Kmart and Walmart, and Target and Best Buys, all the big stores. Families were appalled at this. Calls came in, and they were immediately fired. Not only were they fired, but the director who's supposed to be in charge of them was also fired. Downside, or the bad side, is the agency was left with only one social worker to help out the calls of all the children that are neglected or abused. So they kind of did a double-edged sword. They turned parents off to them, plus they left that county, the Department of Children's Services in Prescott, uh, unaccounted for. So that is really there. So um, I want you to think a little bit about why you need an attorney, because you're going to be like Alice in Wonderland, and you've fallen in the rabbit hole and you met the Chester cat, and the Chester cat has told you to go to this room and that room, and you go nowhere. Remember one of the rooms that said off with your head? I mean, it's crazyville. You know, they're in it for the money. It's $1 trillion business. They pay their workers bonuses and incentives to keep the children in, to abduct the children, to do things they're not supposed. They will violate your civil and constitutional rights. In fact, they've duped the local police to do their dirty work for them. You know how police are very intimidating. They wear combat boots and combat fatigues and bullet vests, and they're armed to the teeth. I know they have to be safe, but they, like the social workers, somehow become corrupt. And I don't know if they're getting a kickback of money or not. I've yet to have a policeman on my show that's dealt with CPS. I've had 3 social workers on my show that deal with CPS, but never a policeman. So I really don't know. But all I know is I hear from the parents, including myself, that use the police for intimidation factors, and they seem to follow the social workers to do their dirty job, such as coming into your house without a search warrant, without a warrant. They take your children without a warrant. There are things that they do illegally. And it's sad. I've seen the videos, I've seen people, and it's all based on allegations. These allegations come from 2 types of individuals: professionals, which are trained in child abuse and now neglect, and they have to because their job, like teachers, daycare givers, counselors, principals, nurses, doctors, policemen, firemen, anybody that works with the children has to take a class in child protection neglect and have to report it. They're mandated by law. But I would say probably 90% of the time that they report it fairly and honestly. They recognize a bruise or an open wound or a child looking bewildered or not clothed or dirty or looks very hungry. They're going to call it in. They know what to look for. But the other kind of individual is your laymen. And those are your friends, your relatives, your family members, your neighbors, people walking the street and stuff. The sad part about it is 99% of them, 99% of them use it for alternative motives. What I mean by that, let's say your neighbor next door doesn't like the way you're growing your plants or trees, or your dog is barking. So they'll call CPS and uh, uh, call in, and you may not have a child, but they're going to say a child is left unintended. CPS has to come out with 24 hours, and they find out that the person didn't have a child. See, that's how they do it. Or they want it, going through a divorce. They want to put one parent against the other parent. They use alienation. There's so much abuse, because here's the problem. When people call in, CPS has to believe it's true. And right away, you're guilty until you're proven innocent. It isn't like other criminal matters where you're innocent until you're proven guilty. But right away, you're proven innocent, and right away, they're going to come out to investigate. When they're investigating, they're fishing. That's why you don't want to open your home, and you don't want to talk to them. You don't want to talk to them. And you can do so, but you have to know your rights, and you have to know the laws. And CPS is a very complicated system. And it's sadly to say that it seems to jump on the parents that don't know too much, and to take advantage when they know you don't have money for an attorney. So you're going to have to do a ruse that makes it look like you have an attorney if you don't have money for an attorney. I had to sell my home to get my attorney, so I know what it is. I lost my job through no fault of my own when I was age 60, and CPS started harassing me for 5 years because my family members, my in-laws, were reporting that my wife and I weren't taking care of our children. And it was every week was something new. And I just proved it every week when I met with them. I met with them outside. A couple times I showed them the house. They could find nothing wrong. But it went on and on and on for years until finally they got the police involved and they want to do retaliation. So it's sad. So when you call in, it should be in writing and it should be um, signed, but they don't. They allow the call that comes in, they believe the story. In 24 hours, they're going to investigate. And if they get an unsuspecting parent, they show up, they're going to take your child right away, whether they're in imminent danger or not. Whether they're in imminent danger. That's their MO. So that's why you need an attorney. And I know a lot of you are going to say, well, I got a court appointed attorney. Well, I had one too, because I couldn't afford my children. I had one too. The only problem is the court appointed attorneys are not dependency lawyers. They're barely a criminal lawyer, brand new starting out. And they're controlled by the social workers, controlled by the judge. They're not going to treat your case fairly or fight for your case. They're going to look for the easiest way out. Why? Because they got clients of 30 or more. They don't have time to meet with you or talk to you or fight for your case. I'm not saying don't use them, but you got to be aware that they're not going to get your kids back. They're not going to get your kids back. And if you have one and you have no choice, use one, make them work for it. Make them work for it. Be pleasant to people. Be courteous to people. But demand your rights. And you need to study your rights. You need to know your rights. You need to know what your constitutional rights and your civil rights are. Because there's a lot in there that can help you. In fact, my rule number 4 says to go to the internet and type in your city, and you want to type in, if it's a small city like Athens, Georgia, type in a second city like Atlanta, Athens and Atlanta, Georgia. Then use the acronym CPS. Then after that, put down what thing you want to know about them, whatever it is. With that, paraphrase that way, you'll see tons of answers moved up. You may want to ask you, can they take your children? Or how they take your children? What's the first step? What are allegations? What's the 388 motion? What's the ICWA Act of 1978? There is so many different things. And spend 60 hours. It's well worth your time when you first get a case and first get it open. So that's rule number 4. I'll give you rule number 1, which is get an attorney. And I can't, right now, Vincent is available. He's available right now. And all you have to do is go to that website and he'll make your life feel better. He'll make your life feel better. I've told you about some important rules, and 2 of them, I have 5 of them, and I'll sporadically, when I come along the subject matter, talk about them. This podcast is a live podcast. It's broadcast around the world, everywhere there's internet. You found me on Facebook, Fight CPS Bob Pace, and then I'm transmitting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. It's the StreamYard application on YouTube. Now I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day. That's 14 podcasts I do. I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour, and again at 7 o'clock at night Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour. There's exceptions. Tonight is Friday Night Lights. It's a high school football game. I'll be going there, so I'm doing my show a couple hours early at 4 p.m. in the afternoon on Friday. At 4 p.m. on the afternoon of Friday. The game is about an hour and a half away, and so at 5 o'clock I got to really hustle to get there by 7 o'clock, and it'll be crowded. But anyway, there are my show times, 7 days a week, twice a day. That's 14 shows. And there are 4 ways to interact with this podcast. The first way is to be in my room like you are right now and listening and taking notes. Now, there's emojis you can use, like smiley faces and hearts and thumbs up. Also, you can send me stars if you like what I'm talking about. Furthermore, if you want to subscribe to my podcast, hit the subscribe button below my page. Then if you want to um, uh, uh, be notified when I'm on, hit the notification button. Hit the notification button. And that will do you. That will do you. So seems like my jacket's off centered. Trying to get my tie centered. Okay. Um, so that is the first way you're at with the podcast. A second way, there's four of them. A second way is you can uh, communicate by texting a comment um, to the right of the application. There's the comment section, and you can text in a comment. Um, I'm putting the directions on the screen, but all you need to do is type in the comment or question about your CPS. We got to keep it concentrated on the child protection system. Please show me your name and first name only, your city or county. Some of you don't like to give out your city, that's fine, I understand that, but your county would be nice. State, and that if you're from another country, your city and country. And you probably say, whoa, what do you mean another country? Well, I'm open to CPS around the world. And there's been 14 countries that have texted in questions or comments. I want to help everybody. If you're serious and have a CPS case, it's also interesting how other cases are handled in CPS. And so far, I've heard from Bangladesh, from New Delhi, India, from a country in the Middle East that was in Arabic. I don't know what the country was. From the continent of Africa, I've had three countries there: Liberia on the west coast and North Africa along the beach. And then I've had Rwanda, which is in Central East Africa, um, near Lake Victoria. And then I've had Mozambique, which is on the east coast opposite Madagascar, the island of Madagascar. And then I've had South Africa, and I've had the province on the west coast text in a comment. Then we move up to Europe, and I've had England, Scotland, and Wales, part of the United Kingdom, and then I've had Denmark and Sweden. Then we go across the pond to North America, and I've had Canada, the provinces in Canada, and then I've had all 50 states, including Washington, D.C., And um, I've heard not only from people there, but I've heard from the United States Native American Indians. They were the first immigrants that came over from Asia over to Alaska to the land bridge and settled um, not only in North America, they settled in Canada and the USA. Now in Canada, they're called the First Nation Indians, And in the USA, they're called Native American Indians. So the Canadian Indians are the First Nation, and then the Indians in the USA are the Native Americans. They all were the first immigrants, if you think about it. That was, thousands of years ago, before the Vikings came and the Europeans came. We've had the Vikings went as far west as the Mississippi up to St. Louis. So there's traces of Vikings all across our country. And then there is the Europeans, the Portuguese, the English, the French, the Spanish, the Dutch, all the different people from around the world. So we are a land of immigrants. But once you're born here, you're considered native. So Native American is all you guys out there, whether you're Indian background, French background, Dutch, or whatever. You're a native. That means people born in this country. And there are a lot of new immigrants that babies are being born in this country that are becoming Americans. I mean, we're talking millions of people because we didn't have a closed border anymore. And we now are seeing the tax of the social service be taxed. And I know that CPS has their hands full with the people from other lands with a lot of the problems we have. And hopefully soon we'll have somebody back in office that will regulate the borders and make it like it used to be, where you learned the language, you took government and history, and you were vetted first before you became a citizen. It wasn't so easy to get all the social service aid like it is now. There's a lot of mixtures of people that are bad being in this country, and so we had a lot of incidents of stupid killings and stuff. So it is a horrible mess, but it affects CPS quite a lot. Now, I want you to be complete with your case when you text in. All you need to do is say that um, you are a husband, wife, and both parents are involved in the case and bringing up the children. Or maybe you're different parents. The children have different parents. Or maybe you're a single parent, you're divorced. Just tell me what your family makeup is, and then you want to also tell the sexes of your children and the ages. Are they teenagers? Are they young children? Are they babies, infants, so forth like that? And then the allegations. That's important you say what the allegations. And try to go detail about them better than neglect or abuse. And then also, how were the children taken from your home? That's very interesting to me because there's so many different ways that children are taken. Some are just, hey, can I have your child? And you say, sure, take my child. You know, I'm being sarcastic there a little bit, but you know, they do take your children because they want to ask for them. You need to know not to take them. In fact, at this point, I'd like to tell you some about that. You know, we've had a lot of people lately killed opening doors, shot by policemen. I know a black airman in Gainesville, Florida, that was shot by the policeman when he opened his door. The gun was no more than a foot away, and he fired 5 shots. Not one shot, but 5 shots. And he slowly died when he was talking to his girlfriend on FaceTime. That's terrible. Or there was this lady arguing with a policeman in her home she let in, and he took his gun and fired her 5 times in her face. That killed her. I don't know what's this thing about 5 times. I thought guns usually hold 6 chambers, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And so that was sad. That was sad. And then there was a Korean lady just recently that was shot to death because she had some mental problems. And again, the policemen don't know their people skills or their police work. And so you have to be careful open the door. The best thing to do when you hear a knock on the door, go to the other part of the house and be quiet. Also, if you have family members, arrange a knock or a door ring that you recognize. You can let them in. But whatever you do, don't let them in. And if you're outside, don't talk to social workers. The more you say, it'll be used against you. I did that mistake. You used so much stuff that I said against me. It was wrong. You just do not talk to social workers. You use simple, short answers. And a way to get rid of all the mess is say, I need to have my attorney present. This is a criminal matter, and I need to have my attorney present. It's my civil rights, because they're supposed to be on stages. And you say to them, could you please call me and make an appointment so that we can meet, me and my attorney? Sometimes they won't follow that because they don't want attorneys involved, especially say you have one. So that's something I wish I'd known, because I would have said that. I said, you're not going to come in here unless my attorney is present. If you want to set an appointment or time, then so be it. But anyway, uh, there's only several ways they can come into your house. And there's also several ways they can take away your child. If you give them permission to enter your home, or someone living there gives them permission, they can enter your home. If you give them permission to take your child, or someone there gives permission to take your child, then they will take your child. Now, if you have domestic violence going on, like a fighting between 2 guys, 2 girls, a girl and a guy, a husband, wife, whatever it is, and you're going at each other with fisticuffs, or you're using guns or knives, then they're going to intervene. The police are going to intervene. The social worker is going to intervene. So if there's domestic violence going on, even arguing, they will intervene. You do not want to argue with your friend, with your wife, You need to take a time out. You need to go for a walk and come back later after 5 minutes and talk to him or her, and maybe go for a walk and talk about it. But whatever you do, you need to diffuse that anger. It's a hard thing to do, especially if you know you're right. I have a hard time with it myself. And I took a year long anger management class. So that's one of the programs they have for you. It's once a week for 52 weeks. Now, as I say, the third way they can enter your home or they can take away your child is if you have a warrant. If they have a warrant. Now, a warrant is nothing more than a piece of paper. I mean, paper. It's not a PhD file. It's not the computer screen, and it's not a Xerox copy. It's a real paper that you can feel the texture of the paper, and you see a wet signature on there. That wet signature has got to be signed by a judge. It's got to be raised, so the clerk will have a stamp, and the stamp will raise the signature so they cannot be duplicated. And that's got to be done by a clerk. Now, what happens is that police officers or social workers will go to court to say they want to enter your home or talk to you or take your child. And the judge will give it to them pretty easily, it seems like. And so they'll fill it out with your name or all the people involved in the case, including the children. They'll put down the allegations and they'll put down the address and the date and time they can come and do the visit and what they can do during the visit. So if they have that document, you have to comply with it, but you got to check it out. If it's on a holiday or a weekend, those dates are no good because they don't work on holidays or weekends. It's got to be a work day date. That's one thing you need to check. You got to make sure that the thing has got a legitimate signature and so forth. And again, you can ask them, you need to make a point with me. I'll bring my attorney and we can do a home inspection or something like that. But be polite. It's hard when you're angry. I know how you feel, and it's been a horrible experience that you've gone through. Now, during these lines, I also talk about medical trafficking during this rule number 3. Not only is the trouble with entering your home or taking your children, they do what's called medical trafficking. What that means is they have stealed your child. They have stealed your child. And um, what they do is you come in there to urgent care or to the emergency room because your child has a high fever or been injured. And you expect the doctor to look at stuff like that. You know, there's usually strangers. Also, at that hospital emergency room, there'll be a social worker. That social worker is a child protection system social worker. And they'll listen in and try to take your children. They're out there looking for money. See, children represent money to the CPS. So when they see a child, they look for money. Because why? Well, in my case, each of my children are getting paid $60,000 per month per child. That's 3 children. And that was a total of, well, $20 per each child and $60 total a month for those ones there. So it really is really kind of um, a hard thing that you're going through, a very hard thing that you're going through. And I really feel for you there and stuff. So um, it's a hard thing. But not only do you have to worry about them picking up your children, if you go to have your baby and your child, and you're going to have your baby, then what's happening is that your your baby that gave birth is being taken from you by the police or the social workers. Now I'm broadcasting outside. You may hear some nearby jets because they're going to have the air show in a little bit here all afternoon. Hopefully it doesn't start till after 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I'm in Southern California. I'm in Surf City, USA, a mile up from the beach. And I have an ocean breeze coming in that keeps it nice and comfortable, sometimes too cold. But I do want to emphasize that you're dealing with an entity that is so corrupt, and they will take your children for the money's sake of things. They're professional child kidnappers. That's what they are, professional child kidnappers. What you do is you tell them to get out of your hospital room if you're having a child, sit in the lobby. They got to have a warrant to take your child or to talk to you. And that's really the wrong time when you just have a baby, because what they're going to try to do is take your child and they're going to try to steal your birth certificate that isn't with your parents' names. It's real important that you get that birth certificate and social security card when your child is first born, because because social service will take the blank ones and then fill in the foster care parents. That's how they'll steal your children. They will use a false birth certificate. It's really corrupt. I'm telling you that. I know you may be shaking your head and you're not believing it, but it is. So whether you're bringing a child that is sick or injured, or whether you're having a pregnancy, do not let them have your children. Try to resist it. It's your constitutional right. They have to have a warrant to do all those things. Now, the third way to interact, and I stepped to talk about my rules a little bit because I'm trying to change a different format. A third way to interact with this podcast is be a guest on my show. Now, to be a guest on my show, you're just going to write an email to my show producer. Her name is Grace. I want to thank her for all she does and thank her for her help. But you email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. And you email one of the show times, one of the 14 show times. I want to be a Bob's morning show on Saturday. I want to be Bob's Friday night show. I want to be a Bob's Wednesday morning show or a Bob's Tuesday evening show. So you email her that, and then she'll email back you with the link to the application we use here, which is SteamYard. And that's how you get on. Now, if you end up losing yourself, or you get logged out, then you can reuse the link again. It's a multi-use link, so don't lose it. And she'll send that to you. She'll also tell you how to be a guest on the podcast and what to do and not to do. Like, she'll sit there and say that there's no eating or smoking on the podcast. We only use the first name of children's and children, social workers, and judges. Yeah, we don't use judges' names either. So judges, social workers, or children. So um, it's so easy to get on my show, and I'd love to have you. I have 9 spots. I can take up to 20 people, so I can have 19 spots. 20 people. I've only had a max of 4, so that would be great. So that's the third way. The fourth way is now open up my phone number. Now you can call in. My phone number is live. That's my office phone number, 626-698-0990. And that number you can call and talk to me on my cell phone. I'll put you on speaker, and you can everybody can listen and hear yourself talk. So you want to make sure your background sounds are down, or my show's turned down so it doesn't echo. So all you do is dial in 626-698-0990, and you reach my phone, and we can talk about your case or talk any concerns you have about CPS. And I'm glad to help you. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a family man. I'm a loving family man. I've had 2 families. I had one family for 10 years, and sadly lost my wife and daughter on that first family. I've not seen my daughter since she was 3. And so I know she's alive. and but I've tried to reach out, but I have not heard from her. My second marriage is 32 years, and I have 6 children. One of them is from a child from my first marriage, who I called one of my 6 children. My wife, who came to me 32 years ago, had 2 children. One showed up when he was age 20 into our lives, and that one was out of rape, and she's so glad that she gave him life. He turned out to be a really great, great man. Then the other child was uh, a mistake on her part, and she did not want to give it up. She doesn't believe in abortion, which I think is good. Birth control is not abortion. I mean, a form of birth control is not abortion, is what I'm trying to say. And I can speak honestly about that because my son, who's now in his 40s, and I'm not his biological son, but he has genes from my other kids. But he is done quite well in life. He's a major in the United States Air Force. He's a JAG. He's a lawyer for the Air Force. Goes around the world. So that shows you it's not their fault when a kid is made. It's not their fault. They should not be killed. They have a right to say, a child cannot speak in the womb. Please don't kill me. And I know that's a prude way to put it, but I'm one of those people. There's got to be a special reason why we're doing this abortion. There has to be some common sense, and I feel that the mother, along with counseling, and the father should be a part of the whole process of determining how the child's going to be raised. And if there's complications, the mother's life is in risk. Um, that may be a need for abortion. But the thing I've found out from rape is my son turned out great. He's contributing to society. It isn't his fault. Children that are born out of rape or born out of just sex, it's not their fault. They should be given opportunity. There's a lot of people that love to adopt them. And if you don't want to raise a child, then there's a lot of adoptions can be done there. Now, when you call in at my number, try to say what your case was about too, so that we don't have to go back and forth asking a lot of questions and so forth. And again, you cannot call me before my hours or after my hours. It's really important that you call during my show hours. Otherwise, I can't answer the phone. Now, those are the 4 ways. I've already given you now 3 rules, and I have 2 more left to talk about. I'm hoping that someone will type me a comment. Hopefully the comments are working. If you want to make a comment in my show, you go to my Facebook page, you go where it says live, and you enter it there, and you should be able to make a comment. Yesterday they said, but I didn't have it checked. In fact, I'm going to see if one of my listeners can come to my podcast and see if she can do a comment. Faye is a single mom from Richmond, Kentucky, who's been on my show for a long time. Then herself, she lost um, 2 children, so that was sad. That was sad there. Yeah, hi, Faye. I was wondering if you could see if my podcast is working. Can you log in to my Facebook page, Bob Pace, and see if you can make a comment?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay. We have Faye, who is a single mother. As I said, 2 children. She had to choose between her young daughter of a couple years old and her son, who's a special needs son, and so she went with her son. But that was a terrible choice that she had to make in Kentucky. That was a terrible choice from Richmond, Kentucky. She's actually at the worst state to be in. Kentucky is the #1 state for CPS cases gone amok. They've killed a judge there recently in Chambers by a sheriff because the judge was seen his underage daughter, and the sheriff couldn't take it anymore. So there's a lot of bad things that happen in there, and they're a little early on the air show, but hopefully it's just a flyby thing. But there were F-16s that flew by, 4 of them. So I guess they're trying to make it sound like we're in the war or something like that. The Iraqi war or the Israel war by the planes flying. Anyway, I'm checking to see if Faye is able to make a comment. Now, while Faye's checking to make a comment, I want to talk my other 2 rules. I've already covered 3 of them. Get an attorney, how to enter the home and take your children, medical trafficking, and then the research. Well, rule number 2 is get a notebook. And you probably say, well, why do you need a notebook? Well, I learned from experience that writing on envelopes or pieces of scratch paper, post-it notes, there's no way to organize your paperwork with your CPS case. You're going to be in that case for a couple years, so you got to be organized all the paperwork that comes in and all your notes and everything. All your notes. Notebook should be 11 by 8.5, and it's should be a 3-ring binder about 3 inches thick. You stuff it full of college rule notebook paper, and you get dividers, subject dividers, and space them out. You get about 20 of them, and then one of the most important information you put in your book is called a timeline, which is the incident log. You take a sheet of paper, and you write down all the incidents you have with your children, with the CPS workers, with the police, with your family members, anybody you talk to that's related to the case, the school or whatnot. And what you do is you put down the date, the time, the location, and who is involved. Who is involved. That's on the first line. The second line is a descriptive of what your incident is. What is your incident? Describe it in 1 sentence. And then thirdly, you want to have the results of your incident. Now, if you don't have an answer yet, you will, so leave a blank. And then when the answer does come in, then you can fill it out. And again, it's 1 sentence. Then you skip a couple lines in the next incident, skip a couple lines in the next incident. Eventually, you'll have your incident log filled, and you have lots and lots of incidents to relate to. But that will help you. It's kind of a grieving process when you lose your children to do this busy work. And you'll be glad you do, because you and your attorney will be able to talk about it in a fashion like that. Okay. Come in from CPS Fight with Bob Pace. The CPS attorney Rolodex came in. So they come in, but you got to see Faye. Are you typing in a comment on my page, Faye?
Yeah, but it's not showing anything.
Yeah, Grace, if you can hear me, we have Fight CPS with Bob Pace. There's a comment come in from Fight CPS with Bob Pace. So the Bob Pays page, and then the CPS Rolodex, which is the page that Grace um, made up. Says also comments come in from the page CPS Attorney Rolodex. Okay, but apparently, um, I have no idea. So that's something we'll work on. It's a glitch that Faye knows about. There's been a glitch with SteamYard and a glitch with Facebook and YouTube there. But I show them link to me, green tabs. You're live. I see the YouTube Fight CPS with Bob Pace. I see the Fight CPS with Bob Pace. That one's working. And then I see the CPS Attorney Rolodex is something she's got there. And she went ahead, I guess, went to the pages and typed in a comment. And she put in a comment. Comments come in from Fight CPS with Bob Pace's page. Also, comments come in from the page CPS Attorney Rolodex. So I don't know what you're doing, Faye. I don't know, but Grace
It's not
is.
anything I'm doing, Bob.
Oh, okay. Well, something is because that's why I noticed my room have 3 or 4 people, but again, I don't see any comments come in from them, and that
Well, I mean, don't you all realize that other people aren't coming either as strong because they can't?
yeah.
I'm not doing anything different than I've always done, and I've been on this podcast for
Yeah,
many months.
I know, Grace. I understand, Grace. She has done that. She came in with Fight CPS with Bob Pace, and she has been told by you on the phone. I know that, and sent my email. No, okay, all right. Well, okay, all right.
Yeah, I understand.
You saw here on the reality
Grace is
series.
kind of,
The reality series. You're not.
I did both.
Oh, okay. She did both, Grace. She did both the reality series. She did one on my Facebook page and once on the reality series. Anyway, I can ask other people to do the same thing. It's just that I know we have people in the room, and so far we've got no comments that have come in except for the ones that were generated. Um, I don't know if you generated those comments or someone else did, but there's no name with them. It came from those rooms. So other things in that notebook you can put down is things like your court papers. Organize them, hole punch them, index them. You put all your court papers in your notebook. You can put all your parenting class certificates, index them. Also your programs, all your anger management programs, domestic violence programs, um, your programs with alcohol or drug abuse. And then you can put all your drug tests in there with another tab. And then another tab for information, like all the websites you found and everything and so forth like that. Yeah. She knows that her reality series won't come up, but she also typed it in my Facebook page, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. She has a comment there. So, um, so uh, use that notebook. That's something you're going to have to show your attorney or the judge later because you will not remember everything. So make that notebook worth it. Rule number 2. And then, of course, rule number 5 is important to have an envelope with all your important documents. What I mean by documents is one of the first things you want to have is your children's birth certificate and their social security card. Um, or you can have copies of it. But you got to have that stuck in an envelope. You want to have your marriage certificate, and you want to have the children's shot cards, the children's medical records, their last physical checkup, anything with mental health problems you want to have in there. Also, parents' health things need to be in there too. So you need to find all those important documents and put them in there, because they will not, they will lock up your documents. You won't be able to get copies. So you need to get that beforehand of all the documents, your driver's license, um, anything that's related to your child or to yourself with the relationship. So that way you have documentation. And that's rule number 5. So I've covered the 5 rules. Rule 1, get an attorney. Rule 2 is keep track of a notebook. Rule 3 is don't talk to the social workers, don't let them in, and don't let them take your children, and be careful of medical trafficking. Rule 4 is the research, everything you can know about CPS, and Rule 5 is to make the envelope available so it's with you at all times of the important documents of your children. Because as soon as they get into foster care, they're notorious about sealing your birth certificate and creating a new birth certificate. Or at birth, you forget to get your birth certificate, and CPS fills one with the new foster care families. Now, something about foster care that I want to tell you about. Foster care is very corrupt as well as CPS. Foster care parents don't have to go through a lot of training. It's an easy way to adopt children in foster care. Like the normal adoption process takes a couple of years. You're vetted very thoroughly, both state and federal. You're vetted, meaning you're done your security clearance. Then you have to go through a lengthy process of adopting that child. It does not happen overnight. But with foster care, it can happen right away. Parents are recruited. They go through very little training to be a foster parent, and they take their child and put them in that foster care's home, and right away they're abused, either by the parents or by the children the parents have, because outsiders are looked up down by children of foster parents. So foster parents can get adoptions really quick and real easy. That's why most people try to do it foster care. And with the Native American Indian children, for 150 years, they're adopting Native American Indian children into the ICWA Act of 1978, which is the Indian Child Welfare Act, that says that Indian children need to be turned over to the Indian tribe when there's a problem with CPS, and that Indian families will take care of the children. Indian families will take care of the children. Indian families will take care of their own children. And then they passed that act of 1978 that forced CPS to contact the Indian reservations. And they have to verify your child is a Native American. Most tribes require 25% blood, and that you have to be federally registered with the federal recognized tribe. You have to be registered with the Indian tribe that's recognized by the federal government. There's 548 of them, of tribes in the United States. And I'm talking about the United States. I'm not talking about Canada. They have their own process up in Canada. They have a similar act that we do here in the States. Theirs took place in 1980. But, that's one way of stopping and have the children, be reunified with their parents who really love them. I mean, anybody in this room loves their children. And so, now it came in. Now it is. Can you see my comments, Sadie? Now I can see your comments. They came in late, and I'm so sorry it took you an hour, Sadie, but I can see your comments. Um, anyway, I'm glad you're in here, Sadie Lynn Vega. What city or state are you from, Sadie Lynn Vega? And please type your comments. Don't go. I am so sorry there's a delay in there. I'm so sorry there is a delay. Oh, you say the comments come in on time. Well, okay. But Sadie, what city and state are you from? What city and state are you from? Or county? And do you have a question or a comment about your CPS case? Okay, I guess Sadie doesn't want to tell where she's from. Do you have a question or a comment? I got now much. My show time has gone over a minute. I'm going to have to end my podcast. Thank you, Sadie Lynn Vega. I have no idea where you're from or what the comment you want to talk about. Please come to my evening show, which is on at 4 o'clock today. I'll be live at 4 o'clock this afternoon today. That's my podcast. Thank you, Faye, for helping me. Thank you, Grace. And thank to all my listeners that gave me emojis and come into my room. God bless you. Keep fighting for your kids. This is Bob Pace signing off. Okay, I got to remove my.
Hi, I'm Attorney Vincent Davis. Are you overwhelmed by a CPS case? I'm offering you a new opportunity to change your situation. Join me for a live question and answer seminar where I'll help you navigate the CPS process and help bring your child home. I'll reveal the biggest secrets to winning your CPS case. This is the same strategy I've used for over 35 years to help reunite families. I'll show you the simple steps that work even if you feel like you're out of options. Here's the best part. When you sign up, you'll get exclusive access to my private strategy session where I dive deep into your specific case. This offer is only available to those who attend the live seminar. Don't miss this chance to fight CPS and win. Click the link below to reserve your spot.